Hello and welcome into a new episode of the Clutch Mode Podcast. I'm your host, David, and this is my co-host, Alex.
Howdy do.
As always, we are a proud member of the Boston Sports Zone. Make sure to follow them on X and on YouTube at @sportszone_BOS. As a reminder, we are constantly generating new content. Make sure to check out the latest on the Boston Sports Zone website, bostonsportszone.card.co, and that's card with 2 R's. Also, be sure to check out our merch store
Absolutely.
on Etsy.
Come on now. We've talked about this a million times. I'm telling you right now, the merch is fire. Absolute fire. So make sure that you check it out. We've got hats. We've got t-shirts. We've got Clutch Mode merch. It's amazing.
We do.
So make sure you check it out and pick up something really cool. And also, we have a new sponsor that we are talking about for the Boston Sports Zone, and that is
Quick Assist.
Quick Assist. So basically, the way that it works is you have tickets. Like, I'm not going to lie, I'm a season ticket holder for Patriots, but I live in New York and I can't go to all the games. So if I wanted to sell all my tickets, I could go to quickassist.com and you download the Quick Assist app and you go to the link /BSC. And then what you do is Quick Assist lets you sell your tickets everywhere. So it figures out where the best places to go and lists them all simultaneously. It does all the work for you.
Work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely. So you list them once, you sell them everywhere with Quick Assist. Your tickets are posted across 12 plus retail platforms at once, giving them more exposure and giving you a better chance to sell faster. Use the quickassist.app.link/BSZ link, and every ticket sold through our link helps directly support our BSC organization.
Yes.
And it, and all the work that we do and all the content that we create across the network. So
let's kick it off.
Business aside, let's kick it off with, of course,
the Week in Review.
The Week in Review. We love the Week in Review. And it's been a week. I tell you, for the fact that it's summer, it's
been a busy summer.
It's busy. It's full. So let's start off with the NFL.
Yes. Tight end Hunter Henry has signed a 2-year extension with the Patriots worth up to $16 million.
With $16 million up to
$20 million, with $14.5 million guaranteed and a $4.2 million signing bonus. New England, the Patriots have traded Caden Wallace this week to the Dolphins, in addition to a 2029 7th-round pick for a 2028 6th.
So they're exchanging a bag of balls.
Yeah. Nico Lalos was re-signed as long snapper, while Julian Ashby was dealing with an ankle injury that kept him out for a couple days. Meanwhile, Terrell Jennings and Miles Montgomery were both on injured reserve. New England signed running back and return specialists Hassan Haskins, a former Titan and Charger who spent time with Mike Vrabel in Tennessee, and Jermichael Hasty, who had a previous tenure in New England, to replace them. Haskins was a 4th-round pick in Tennessee under Vrabel and spent the last 2 seasons with Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. Jermichael Hasty was in Foxborough from 2022 to 2024. Also played for the Niners, the Jaguars, and the Dolphins. And yes, both do cover kicks and return them. Meanwhile, Patriot legendary kicker Adam Vinatieri will be getting a halftime ceremony at Gillette Stadium on October 11th against the Raiders, which we will be going to.
Very exciting. Yeah, so as far as Henry's contract is concerned, he turns 32 in December.
Happy early birthday.
That's really early.
Well, you can never have it too early.
That's right. He got $14.5 million guaranteed on a $16 million deal. At this point in time, he is the only viable, reliable tight end on the roster, and it's a position that they need to start thinking about and treating better. Yes, they drafted Eli Raritan, but nobody knows what's going to come of him. Yes,
Arkin.
You took the words right out of your mouth. Yes, they signed UDFA Tanner Arkin, but that is not a secure enough tight end position. And the $4.2 million signing bonus prorates across both years. It makes 2027 release costs more in dead money than the salary saves. So they really committed to Henry through 2028. And, you don't know what's going to happen with Haskins and Hasty. Right now, they're just camp bodies.
Yeah, Hasty was actually signed a 1-year deal.
Yeah, they're camp bodies with special teams experience. Brought in the day before the preseason opener that they actually ended up playing in because the room lost 2 players and they need depth. And Vrabel said, it's too early to tell on either one, which it is. It's too early. It's just way too early.
Around the league, just announced today, Seattle, the Seahawks, and three-time Pro Bowl cornerback Devin Witherspoon have agreed to a massive 4-year, $132 million extension with more than $101 million guaranteed, with an annual salary of $33 million a year. This makes Witherspoon the highest-paid defensive back in NFL history.
This is probably one of the biggest things, and it's going to have a huge impact on the Patriots. Obviously, it resets the quarterback market. It changes the Christian Gonzalez negotiation.
Like I said, for now.
Yep, for now. And now a new bar is set, and Gonzalez has made it abundantly clear that he wants to be the highest paid cornerback by far.
And a Patriot for life.
In the league. Well, he didn't say he wanted to be a Patriot for life. He just said he wants to get paid the top cornerback in the top cornerback market. So we're talking about $33 million a year with more than $101 million guarantee, and it's broken down in interesting workout bonuses, roster bonuses. It's a quite interesting contract that he's got going on. So that agent of his is doing a great job.
Yes. So, by the way, Gonzalez and Witherspoon are the same agent.
They do have the same agent. So on Monday, Gonzo was on Brown, and they both fell to the ground, and Gonzalez acquired an injury and hasn't practiced since. And Vrabel has said
did not play in Thursday's game.
He didn't play in the joint practice with the Colts. He didn't play in the preseason, though none of the starters did. And pretty much Vrabel made it clear that we shouldn't be expecting to see him next week either. So must be really, really hurt. Or hurt that they haven't given him the contract he wants yet. And so I don't think we're going to see him
where it goes again in the next few weeks.
Anytime soon. But I really feel like this is a good catalyst for hopefully some movement on his contract now that we know what the bar is, and he knows that he wants to be above that bar. And so, so it's going to be very interesting. So,
meanwhile, in other NFL news, Dallas and defensive lineman and former Jet Quinnen Williams agreed to a 3-year, $105.9 million extension, also with $101 million guaranteed, with $63.35 million to its signing. The $35.3 million average ranked second among defensive tackles behind Jalen Carter. Dallas traded a 2027 first, a 2026 second, and Mozzie Smith in the Jets for a Q at the deadline, and now has them through 2030.
Wow.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh and defensive lineman Keanu Benton agreed to a 4-year, $72 million extension, the largest for a defensive lineman in the franchise history. Meanwhile, after veteran Teddy Bridgewater announced his retirement, Detroit signed former Patriots quarterback backup Josh Dobbs to a 1-year, $1.425 million deal with $475,000 guaranteed, which kind of feels a little bit shortchanged for a guy who was at the Super Bowl last season, but that's just me.
He just sat there.
That's true. Well, at any rate, the Pastronaut has now landed in the Motor City.
After Teddy Bridgewater retired.
Yep. Carolina signed veteran tight end Darren Waller to a 1-year deal. And Pittsburgh also signed linebacker Elandon Roberts to a 1-year deal. The former Patriots 6th-round pick played in 2023 and 2024 in Pittsburgh. Also played for Miami and Vegas in his career. And going back to Seattle, DeMarcus Lawrence announced that 2026 will be his last season. Lawrence has had 67.5 career sacks across 12 years, 11 with the Cowboys and one Seattle. Not to mention he's the reigning Super Bowl champ.
And it's about time news.
Yes. Arizona's retiring
because it's
legendary Larry Fitzgerald's number 11 and adding him to their Ring of Honor at halftime of the Week 7 game against the Broncos on October 25th. Meanwhile, 4 players were suspended.
And in the not surprising news,
4 players were suspended in the NFL. James Pierce Jr. of the Falcons got 8 games for the personal conduct policy. Titans defensive back Nazeeh Johnson got 6 for performance-enhancing substances. Bills Fidarian Mathis of Buffalo got 3 for substances of abuse.
Substances of abuse. That's a weird way of saying it. I've never heard it called. Couldn't you just call it substance abuse? What is a substance of abuse?
I don't know. Probably like who knows. And Dorrance Armstrong of the Commanders got
Now,
one for the PCP.
Which was the
personal
one
conduct.
who said that he had been taking fertility medication?
I believe it was Armstrong.
I've never heard of fertility.
No, it was Johnson. It was the Titans guy. It was the Titans guy. Excuse me.
I've never heard of fertility medications for dudes, but listen.
I don't know. I'm disappointed that they did not suspend Rice yet. Hopefully that will be coming soon, but we'll see.
Yeah, so 63.35 million due at signing is the most ever guaranteed to a signing at defensive tackle. Dallas spent a first, a second, and a starter to get Williams for 7 games last season, and then set the second highest average salary at the position to keep him. Atlanta drafted Pierce in the first round of 2025 and lose him for half of his second year. 8 games is at the high end of what the league hands out for personal conduct without a criminal conviction attached. But then again, what does it matter? They don't believe in crime in the NFL.
They do not.
You get away with murder.
Look at Rashee Rice. They haven't suspended him yet, and he's been in jail already.
That's right. All right, let's move. I mean, look at Terrion Arnold, who just got signed by the Seahawks.
Well, assuming they don't put him on the exempt list.
He's got multiple felony charges against him for crying out loud.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Let's move on to the NBA.
Yes.
Let's palate cleanse.
Indeed. The NBA released their full regular season schedule this Thursday. The Celtics will be opening their season on the road October 20th at Detroit with a 3 p.m. tip-off. Their home opener will be the next game, October 23rd, against the Knicks.
Oh, boy.
Christmas Day is Miami at TD Garden. In the NBA Cup, the Celtics will be playing Atlanta, Chicago, Charlotte, and AJ Dybantsa and the Wizards.
Nice. Because everybody that you gotta make that money in that NBA Cup.
Boston will be playing 16 back-to-back games, tied with Dallas and New Orleans for most around the league. The NBA average is 14.2, and 16 is Boston's highest total since the 2016-17 season. 6 of them come before the end of November, a month in which the Celtics played 12 of 16 on the road, which kind of feels unfair.
That feels rough.
It does. Jaylen Brown will have a homecoming at the Garden.
Don't call it a comeback.
On January 21st, our 44th game on the second night of a back-to-back. Oof. The Celtics will have 27 nationally televised games, including a 7-game homestand from December 14th to 28th, and a 6-game road trip from December 30th to January 9th.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I think that the Celtics have a tough schedule this year. I don't know. I don't know that I can, in good conscience, pick them to make it to the playoffs this year.
We shall see, though.
Yeah, we'll
see what the newbies can do.
What to see.
Meanwhile, Cleveland made a small trade, sending Dennis Schroeder and some cash to Charlotte for Trey Mann. Also, Minnesota announced they will be retiring Kevin Garnett's number, the 21, February 28, 2027, against the Celtics, which will be a Mike Conley homecoming. And legendary Russell Westbrook will be retiring from the NBA after 18 seasons, having a successful career with 9 All-Star selections and 9 All-NBA tenures.
Teams, yeah.
Yeah,
he's been on 9 All-NBA teams.
So congratulations to Russell Westbrook.
I mean, Mitchell Robinson sat out the second night of every back-to-back for the Knicks last season. Paul George is going to be 30. He's going to be 37 years old in May. God help him. And Tatum played a full season of minutes last year. No, Tatum didn't play a full season of minutes last year.
He did not.
Tatum, I meant the year before. Sorry.
The Achilles, yeah.
Because he was out with the Achilles. And I think that 16 games, puts Missoula 1 or 2 starters short in like roughly 16 games, and the bench has to cover a lot. And they had a lot of problems with bench scoring last year. So I think, the fact that 6 of those back-to-backs are before December, where they play 12 of 16 on the road, it's just November is going to be very interesting to see if by the end of November they're going to be contenders,
playoff contenders,
or pretenders. So,
exactly.
Yeah. Let's move on to the MLB, Major League Baseball. Woo woo.
Boston is 65-57 currently, still third in the AL East, 8.5 games behind the Rays, holding the second AL wildcard, with Detroit 4.5 back in the third spot. Unfortunately, they have lost 5 straight before Thursday.
They've lost 6 of the last 7. Not good.
Nope.
They're losing a little of the mojo, but it is a very long season, and these ups and downs will happen. And, it's great because Roman Anthony is going to be starting a rehab in either Portland or Worcester.
And Trevor Story is
going to be starting a rehab
on
Sunday in Worcester. Arias is lighting it up on fire. So if Trevor Story sucks, you can do whatever you want with Trevor Story and bring up Arias.
TS10.
But I heard a very interesting point that somebody made the other day, which was with the impending lockout, negotiations not going well, and the impending lockout coming, a lot of teams don't want to bring up their minor leaguers, because if they bring up their minor league prospects and then there is a strike, then they can't play. But if they leave them in the minors, the strike doesn't pertain to the minors, so they can keep playing and keep getting experience. So that's definitely one reason to keep Arias down in the minors for now, especially, you know, I think you would have to have Trevor Story just be absolutely horrible and not be able to function in any way, shape, or form to really have to bring up Arias, because I happen to agree. I think that's a really good reason to leave him down there
for another season.
Yeah. So anyway, I digress. I just felt I had to go on a tiny tangent.
At any rate, the Sox lost 5 straight before Thursday. 2 came against the A's at Fenway. 3 came on the road in Toronto. 2 on Monday, 5-3 Tuesday, and 6-4 Wednesday.
Yep.
Monday's game produced a rare 4th out.
Yes, very interesting and a learning experience, the 4th out.
Yeah, the Sox had runners on 1st and 2nd with nobody on the 7th. Down 2-0, Nick Sogard hit a 1-hopper to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who, by the way, was put on concussion IL today. A little bit of karma. Who threw out to Andres Gimenez at 2nd for the 1st out.
Says 1 out.
Yes. The Rogers scoreboard then incorrectly showed 2 outs.
Well, no, that's actually not 100% true. So first it showed 1 out, and then nothing had happened, and then the scoreboard changed to 2 outs. And the 2 runners didn't know how many outs they were, so it was a little bit partially their fault, but keep it going.
Yeah, Rafaela hit a catchable fly to center, and then both Siegler third and Sogard at first.
They took off without tagging.
Yeah, Toronto threw to first and doubled off Sogard for the 3rd out. To explain the 4th out, it's an appeal out that the defense can record after the 3rd out, when that appeal prevents a run from scoring on a timing play. Siegler crossed the plate before an appeal at the 1st registered, which made a timing play. Under Rule 5.09, parentheses C, parentheses 4, Toronto could have thrown to 3rd and appealed that Siegler left early, and the 4th out would have replaced the 3rd and erased the run. The Blue Jays fielders had already crossed the 3rd baseline, which ends the right to appeal. Crew chief Chris Guccione called New York. The delay ran more than 15 minutes.
So long.
And the Sox were earned a run, but Toronto won anyway.
Yeah.
But I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say somebody in that scoring booth getting fired.
Yeah. I don't know what that's about, having 1 out and then 2 outs. Magical 2 outs.
Yeah, it's called somebody got fired and screamed at.
It's called subterfuge.
Yep.
Anyway.
Anywho, Tuesday, Boston built a 3-1 lead on Dylan Cease, then went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position and stranded 9 while drawing 7 walks. Wednesday, Tyron Guerrero allowed for 5 runs. In the 8th, without recording it out. Thursday was definitely a sliver of light in the darkness.
Thursday was a great game.
Yeah, we beat Toronto
that Peyton
7-0, 7-0 shutout.
That Peyton Tolle is just
For
turning
whom the bell tollies.
Turning into a bona fide starter,
I think
right?
He's the best pitcher right now.
He's Sonny Gray too.
About Gray's on a little bit of a funk, I think. He is pitching tonight, but we'll see.
Bennett's in a funk.
Yeah, that's true. At any rate, Tolle threw 8 shutout innings, 91 pitches with 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, beating Max Scherzer. Durbin went 3 for 5 with a home run and 5 RBIs, including a
beautiful grand slam.
Grand slam stubster. Greg Weissert worked a scoreless 9th in his first appearance since the recall. Pittsburgh.
And then we went to Pittsburgh and lost again.
Yeah, we lost 8-4.
We had hope, and then it was dashed.
Yep. Bennett gave up 4 earned in 4 innings. Moran gave up 3 in the 5th and on a Brandon Lowe homer. We had 9 hits and 1 extra base hit that went 3 for 9 with runners in the scoring position. Rushman went 0 for 5 somehow.
Yeah, Rushman, man. We said it with Jake Rogers, who was a hitting machine. We sent him away to Chicago.
We sent him to Chicago
to the White Sox
yeah,
to get a Rushman who catches like the Dickens, but
Rogers
can't
will be wearing
hit
28,
for
by
shit.
the way. Meanwhile, Garrett Whitlock went on the 15-day IL Tuesday with his elbow inflammation. He pitched 13 games in his 27 days in July, has earned a 2.05 ERA across 44 innings with a 29.2% strikeout rate. Whitlock had Tommy John surgery in 2019 and an internal brace procedure in 24.
I do like how you pronounce the age.
Yes.
Whitlock.
As we mentioned before, Story will begin a rehab assignment in Worcester tomorrow, and we will be there. Roman Anthony is hitting off a machine for the time being.
And today, I think they said that he may start a rehab assignment in either Portland or with Worcester. Unclear.
Yeah, I mean,
as early as Tuesday.
It could be the return of the Roman Empire. We'll see.
Maybe. Let's see.
And Jake Rogers was DFA'd this week and unfortunately claimed by the White Sox.
Yep.
And finally, Boston will be playing Kansas City next summer at Iowa's Field of Dreams next August.
That's pretty cool.
It's going to be interesting.
Because if you build it, they will come. So Boston hit 360 with runners in scoring position during the 9-game winning streak and went 5 for 42 during the 5-game losing streak. Both of these things are outliers. And, somewhere in the middle, somewhere near 260, and the swing between them counts for almost the entire difference between 5.6 runs a game and 2.8 runs a game. And that's the problem, is they're just not scoring. They're not generating offense. The fourth out cost Toronto a run, but it didn't cost Boston anything, and Boston still lost. Siegler said he looked at the scoreboard instead of the third base coach, who told him there was one out. Chad Epperson gave him the right number, and the scoreboard overrode it. Totally going 8 on 91 pitches is really important this week because Whitlock is out. 5 relievers have carried this bullpen since June. Gamboa threw 3 innings, and they weren't very good.
No, they were not.
No. Excuse me. Friday, behind a starter who lasted 4 innings, and Boston needs their pitching rotation to reach the 7th inning regularly over the next 3 weeks, or the same that it's going to expose the bullpen and overwork the bullpen. Weissert has allowed 13 of 29 inherited runners to score, third most in all relievers. And usually giving him an inning to work with where he doesn't inherit any runners is going to work best. So handing him runners is how you get a 3.9 earned run average, and it turns into a bullpen collapse. And Chad Tracy should be using him to start innings rather than finish somebody else's mess that they made. A 9 hits and 1 extra base hit Friday is a .029 isolated power number for a full game. Everything Boston hit was a single, and singles with 2 outs don't score runs.
They do not.
That's not mathing. That don't math.
And for reference, tonight, Sonny Gray will be pitching. Tomorrow's Sandoval.
All right. Let's move on to Major League Soccer, our third-place Revolution.
Yes, who recently acquired another central defender. We got Tylon Smith on loan for the Queens Park Rangers on Thursday through the 2027 MLS Sprint season. The purchase option. Smith is 21, 6 feet, 162 pounds from Jamestown in the Western Cape. Smith made 10 appearances across QPR's senior and under 21 sides and was named South African Reserve League Player of the Season for the 24-25 season at Stellenbosch. New England lost 2-0 to Houston at Gillette on the 8th, unfortunately, in front of more than 22 grand. Guilherme
dos Santos.
Yeah, he scored in the first half stoppage time on a deflection off of Ethan Kohler. Augustin Resch headed in a Jack McGlynn corner in the 63rd minute. Turner made 6 saves and hurt his left shoulder, unfortunately.
But he stayed in.
He's a trooper. He stayed in. Yeah. Harrison came on for the 55th for Marcus Zambrano in his Revs debut. In his first MLS appearance since 2017, he competed for 4 of 4 dribbles, 1 ollie ground duels, and put in 2 crosses across 36 minutes. Carl Gilles had 4 key passes. New England is currently 9-6-3 with 30 points and has beat a team in the playoff position since the 2nd of May. Toronto is tonight at BMO Field, the first of 6 road games in 7.
Wow, that's harsh.
That's
a lot. Yeah. Hey, listen, BC football. Let's talk a little BC football. They had their first scrimmage today.
Yes.
I
6 camp
saw
practices
some
we've had.
imaging of the new seating in Alumni Stadium.
Mhm.
It is gorgeous, but new seats ain't going to make your team play good.
They are
So
not.
let's talk a little bit. They started this past Wednesday, they started their camp practices to get ready for the upcoming season. And so far, they've had 6 camp practices. So let's talk a little bit about
Yes.
how they've been doing in those 6 camp practices.
Yes. Quarterback Mason McKenzie is throwing a touchdown to Reed Swanson. Jackson Wade, Bryce Dobson, Jane Skeet.
Skeet.
Exactly. Zeke Moore, Brady Clough, and Javarius Green. He hits Swanson for 50 yards Monday and 45 down the sideline Wednesday with Torrance in coverage. He's bulked up too. He added 15 to 20 pounds in spring after transferring from SVS, Saginaw Valley State.
I don't think anybody's going to know what SVS is.
Well, they will soon.
Isn't that a jewelry store?
I don't know. Swanson is a 6'6" Colgate transfer with the 2 longest completions of camp. Evan Dickens, Nolan Ray, and Bo McCormick III.
That's BM3 to you.
That is.
Actually, wouldn't that BMC3?
Yeah. Technically, yeah. Anyway, those 3 have all broken long runs. Ray powered through a pile for a red zone touchdown on Wednesday. Ashton Cunningham has had 2 end zone pass breakups. TJ Green, Najita Sinkala, and Torrance have each added breakups. Carter Davis has intercepted a tip ball in the end zone on day 1. Washington State transfer linebacker Anthony Polano also broke up a goal line pass on day 2. Luca Lombardo. Yeah, he is on the Lou Groza preseason watch list. Andy Quinn and Bryce LaFollette are competing at punter, with true freshman Jonathan Hewitt kicking field goals alongside Lombardo.
Yeah, their kicking team has been really, really tough, but
they're working on it. They're ironing out all the tweaks.
I think that really everything rises and falls with Mason McKenzie. Bill O'Brien spoke to the media and said that he feels like he's settling in. But I mean, if you don't have a quarterback, really not much else matters. It'll be interesting to see how new defensive coordinator Ted Roof's defense turns out. 6 defensive backs and linebackers have already had a breakup or a takeaway. They're winning the reps against an offense that's installing a new system. So it's going to be really interesting to see how BC turns out this year, because to be honest, they can only get 2 games worse, but they sure as heck can get better.
They can indeed. Meanwhile,
Let's talk about your women's professional baseball league, your Boston Hunters.
Finally got a win on the board. It only took like 6 games,
that's
but
right.
7 times the charm.
They've won 2 games.
Yeah, it's a miracle, I gotta say.
They stink.
They beat New York 9-6 on August 8th for the first win in history. They also trailed 6-0 into the 5th and broke it open. And the 6th on a bases clearing triple from Denver Bryant. So don't call it a comeback. New York took the next day, 7-6 in extra innings. The Hunters are 1-3 with 22 runs scored, 36 allowed at the opening, with an 11-3 loss to San Francisco, and then a 12-4 blowout to LA.
They're having
they ended up firing their manager
pitching. Yeah, they fired their manager. Yeah, and then they said they didn't say anything. They just fired their manager, hired another manager.
Gave him his
it just was like nothing to see here. But yeah, they're a little bit of a mess. Their pitching is a mess. Their defense is a mess. Everything is a mess right now, and the league itself is a mess. It's a bit of a mess.
Well,
it's a new league, and they need time to settle in. But right now, it's a hot mess express. Let's move on to your favorite,
NASCAR. Yes. Ty Gibbs won at Iowa Speedway, his 2nd victory of the year, edging his teammate Christopher Bell in the final laps. He will go for number 3 tonight at Richmond, special Saturday race. Green flag flies at 7 p.m. on USA Network and HBO Max. Meanwhile, for Front Row Motorsports, Noah Gragson signed an extension with them to stay in the number 4 Ford.
All right. So before we move on to the one question this week.
You know your numbers.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what I'm saying. Before we move on to anything else, mostly.
We got to talk about season.
Dude, I am tired. I can't even think straight. We got to talk about today's season ticket member practice. As I have stated, I have been a season ticket member for 27 years.
And counting.
I have never been to a season ticket member practice.
Can't say that anymore.
That's right. I can't say that anymore. So we actually went today. This is technically practice number 15. And it was the season ticket member practice.
Yeah, members only.
Oh, like the jacket.
Yeah,
That's
the crew jacket. Yeah,
That's fancy.
yeah. Got a lot of good autographs
So
today.
yes, you
Shout
did.
out to Milton Williams, AJ Brown, Lan Larison, and Tanner Arkin. In addition to getting to meet David Andrews, shout out to him.
Yes, we got our picture taken with David Andrews. It was we got his autograph. It was
greatest center of all time.
Oh, the G code.
We interacted with greatness.
Yes, the G code. So
at any rate, yeah, practice number
15.
Yeah,
so,
it was a season ticket member practice.
Yep.
The team spent most of the day on red zone late game situations, building towards the joint practices with Philly. The biggest positive was Drake. He started 1 for 5 with the 7-on-7s.
A little bit of a rough start again, but that's Drake for you.
Then went 10 of 16 on 11-on-11s. His best work came in the late game drive with just over a minute left, and the offense needing a touchdown. After 2 incompletions, he hit Booty deep up on the left side for a 3rd down. He faded back into contact from Carlton Davis, who, by the way, is returned.
Yeah, spoiler alert, Carlton Davis came back to practice today after being out. He spoke a little bit to the media. He just said he's had a lingering hamstring issue. He's still trying to get his legs underneath him, and that was pretty obvious because he gave up 5 touchdowns today.
Putting in that work.
He gave up 5 touchdowns today, so that's definitely somebody who hasn't played in a little while. Is pretty darn rusty.
They hurried to the line, got to about the 20, and made through the fade to Romeo Doubs, who basically He mossed Chuck E. Cheese, who is also back.
The play of the day, 100%.
Yeah, he mossed Chuck E. Cheese, who, by the way, was back in a red non-contact jersey as well. That's right.
He absolutely mossed. It was an amazing catch. It just
if you don't see it, if you didn't see it, you got to see it.
It just arced over, and he extended up over Chuck E. Cheese's head and plucked that ball right out of the air.
He might be the new Austin Hooper, because Hooper got some good moss touchdowns. And then he threw the football
up in the air, and it like rotated and spun.
And then almost hit somebody.
And then it was like that hang time.
That's a Selly. That's a Selly right there.
That hang time was putting Behringer to shame. So anyway, and of course, Booty is just Booty. Booty didn't have a lot of time he didn't have a ton of time with the Warrens, but he had some really great catches with both May and Tommy Two Chains.
You mean Tommy Cutlets?
No, Tommy Two Chains is what I mean.
Okay.
No more cutlets. Cutlets is for New Jersey. Keep them cutlets in New Jersey. I beg to
differ. Cutlets are delicious.
So that was Drake May's, I think, best late game drive of camp, and it was a really good response to the Colts joint practice when the 1-minute period ended with an underthrow to Douglas that was intercepted. This time he finished, and that was really good. Dobbs was, like I said, the player of the day, and I would say Booty was a close second. He really has a couple of grabs that were just like, whoa. 3 touchdown catches, all showing the same skill, winning the ball in the air. He high pointed one over Davis, and he won twice over Woods. Woods was wearing their non-contact jersey, so and these are non-tackle drills, but anyway, it was
no pads.
It was a cool thing. I would say like the pace was more. It was like pretty much almost walk-through pace, really slow, really low intensity. You really didn't see a lot from the 2s and 3s because they just played on Thursday. So and Baron Morton barely got any reps today. The 3s barely got any reps today. It was a DeVito May day. So, the Patriots are using Dobbs more on the outside. Dobbs is coming along a little bit slower than perhaps I think we'd like to see, but he continues to progress. And the biggest story is because we had said earlier the O-line. So because we lost
Ben Brown and Andrew. Well, Ben Brown's temporary, but Rupchich
Ben Brown is out for 4 to 6 weeks.
But Rupchich is done for the season.
Season-ending IR.
But we did sign some newbies.
Yes, we did.
Joe Michalski and Darren Dalcourt.
So yes,
one of which is wearing 60, doing David Andrews dirty.
Oh, look at you! Spoiler alerting your know your numbers.
Well.
Oh my God. So anyway, Rupchich, yeah. So So one has guard experience, one has center experience, and they were on the 3rd offensive line today. And I have to say, so the new group of Bryant, Mekhi Butler, Rizzi, Hudson, and Lomu, they were great. They were all right. DeVito had a lot of pressure through his late game drills and ended in
not
a 4-and-out.
Not a lot of action from Morton, I gotta say.
From Morton?
Morton. I feel like he did not do a lot.
Yeah,
in
the
end.
threes. I just said the threes really didn't have a lot of reps today.
Well, it must have been a less chill day.
Well,
like a chiller
but
day.
he played a whole half, and the threes and fours like basically played for most of the game, so they need time to recuperate.
That is true. That is true.
DeVito faced pressure. It ended on a 4-and-out after Bryant and Trevion Henderson lost on the backside. Campbell had a few losses in teamwork, even though the tackles were better in one-on-ones. I think, the starting five, it's like there's the starting five, which has its own questions. Yes. And then you have
the backups. And
there is a large step down
it's just
to
an
the
amalgamation
twos,
of cues.
and like a chasm down to the threes, and it's alarming a little bit. So.
And then another story to watch out for: Draymond Jones left practice early. He went to see the head trainer and then eventually left with training staff. Very significant with Harold Landry still on PUP.
Still on PUP. We don't know if and when he's coming back, but
not to mention Schooler, who's still on NFI.
That's right.
But that did lead to Akis immediately getting his biggest first-team workload of the camp thus far. And Akis was much better against the run. He had multiple run stuffs and pressures, including a big one against Campbell, which is exactly what we wanted to see after Thursday.
Yeah.
When his pass rush was ahead of the early down edge play. One practice doesn't settle it, but this was progress in a specific area he needed to improve. The linebackers also opened up some reps.
Yep. So Christian Ellis was limited. Chad Muma was out. So KJ Britt, who was on the rise, moved up with the first defense. He's definitely been stock up. And he had another run stop
in the Thursday game.
Yep.
That's another story.
Nnamdi Obiazor got more second team work and made a goal line run stop. KJ Britt, I think he just keeps building on, in camp. And like I said, I think he's on the rise. As I mentioned,
Carlton Davis and Chucky Trees.
Carlton Davis gave up 5 touchdowns on his first day back, and he was beaten by Booty on a late game drive. Chucky Trees, Charles Woods, in a red non-contact jersey, he gave up 2 of the Dobbs touchdowns. Kendall Vildor and Karan Prenti, who I think are also on the rise.
They're definitely making a splash.
They've had pass breakups, and Christian Gonzalez, as we said, was not there. And we shouldn't expect to see him anytime soon. He's still hurt.
We'll see. It just depends on how long they take to sign his contract.
Well, I think we're going to see some movement now. Now that this Witherspoon deal is done.
Yeah.
All right. So after
the 2-for-5 game, the Patriots made hit Borgalis kick at uprights.
He kicked the skinny uprights. He kicked the skinny, like the skinny jeans of uprights.
At about half regulation width. He was initially charted for 5 for 6, but after a view of the borderline kick on the upright counted, making him a perfect 6 for 6.
The problem is you can't kick good in camp and then not be able to kick in a game.
Yeah,
you got to be able to do that in a game. I don't care about what you do in training camp where there's no pressure and kick in the game.
Yeah, exactly. It was a good response, but he still had to carry it in the game.
And Julian Ashby
he's back from his ankle injury.
And Nick Lalos was released.
Nico Lalos,
sorry.
He wore 54. What are your biggest takeaways from today's practice?
All right. So I think May finished the situational work. Dobbs looked like he is really coming into his own. I think he had a slow summer, but I think he's picking up speed. I think Akers responded with his best early down practice, but there's still a lot of depth-related concerns. You have the interior offensive line and the edge, especially if Draymond Jones is injured and isn't going to be back for a while because, he's at the top of the pecking order. I think, like I said, it was just you really didn't see a lot of movement in today's camp. There was nothing. I almost, if I wouldn't have known better, I would have thought that Lan Larison and Jam Miller weren't even there. I thought I saw who are those 2 other guys?
Haskins and Hasty?
I saw Haskins
and Hasty. They're 26 and 39.
I saw Haskins and Hasty back with the returners a little bit, and then I never really saw them again. I saw
quiet. And Gilliam.
Yeah, we saw Gilliam on the 11 on 11.
He's back in full swing, I think.
So I think besides the low red zone work, I think that there weren't any camp questions or battles that were dealt with or answered today. You didn't learn anything about cornerback. You didn't learn anything about RB3. You didn't learn anything about the receivers.
But then again,
I will say Kyle Williams repped exclusively with the 2s.
Yeah, especially after getting the only Patriots touchdown.
I just feel like I know people don't agree with me, but I don't think he should be on this roster. It's a
We'll see.
non-discussion point because he is going to be on this roster. I think Vrabel's made it
Yeah,
abundantly clear he's
Vrabel has
going to
high
be on
hopes
this
for the
roster,
man.
but I don't think he should be on this roster. I just
Well,
don't think he's good enough to be on this
we'll just
roster.
have
But
to
it looks
we'll
like
have to,
Chisholm is either they'll keep 7 or Chisholm's going to hopefully end up on the
be the odd
practice
man
squad at this
out.
point in time because whatever Vrabel sees in him, God bless him, because I don't see it. He's
We'll
very
see.
inconsistent.
We'll
He's
just see
just
how
an
it plays out, I
inconsistent.
guess.
He has clear skills and he has clear speed. He has something that the other wide receivers
There's
doesn't have.
definitely if there's a couple guys I can see in the P squad receiver wise, it would be Chisholm, it would be Dorner, and that's all I got for now.
All right, that's okay. That's a good place to go.
Yeah,
I just
Chisholm
feel
and
like
Dorner are definitely
I
P
don't,
squad
his
locks.
speed is undeniable and he has speed, which is something everybody else doesn't have, but he's so inconsistent. He's unclear as where to be on routes. He can't block for shit. It's just, I don't need him. I don't know. He's got to do
We'll
something else
see.
for me.
All right.
So-
and also Joe Mazzulla, Celtics coach,
Yeah.
and his son were at
That was
practice
really
today,
cool. It was
which
cool to
I
see
thought was
Mazzulla.
fun.
Yes.
Coach to coach.
So yeah. So that's pretty much it
Yeah,
for
next up,
the season camp.
The weekend review, yeah.
The season ticket member training. I can't even speak. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm sorry.
Yes,
And we're
next
really
up-
tired. We've been up for like ever.
Hours.
We've been up since like 3
3,
o'clock in the
4
morning.
a.m.
Oh my God. I'm tired, man.
Exactly.
All right, let's keep
All right,
going.
next
hey,
up.
it's your favorite part.
Yep, know your numbers.
Woo! It's Know Your Numbers. I love Know Your Numbers
Yes,
because,
a
as always,
majority-
Know Your Numbers is
a
brought to you
majority
by.
of the new Bruins.
That's right. Know Your Numbers is brought to you by.
Numbers.
Numbers, know them.
I think we're
Do
going
you
to say number is 10.
I think the number of the day is.
Yeah, a
as
bunch
well.
of the new Brews
The new
numbers were
Brews.
announced. JJ Paterka will be wearing number 10, last worn by Riley Tufty. Will Borgen definitely surprised a lot of people. He's wearing 17, last worn by Milan Lucic. Putting some respect on the Luch and Fliggy's number. Nick Foligno. Ivan, and yes, that's his real name.
He liked it so much. It was so nice.
Liked it so nice. He said it twice. Yeah, he'll be wearing 49, last worn by Max Jones. Connor Clifton will get a 75 back from Lucas Reichel. Reichel will move to 76, last worn by 2016 by Alexander Koklashev. Meanwhile, the new Patriots on the block will be Joe Michalski will wear 60, last worn by David Andrews. Darian Dalcourt will take the 61, which I believe was last worn by Brendan Jaimes. Josh Dobbs will be wearing number 6 for the Lions. That's worn by Terry and Arnold. Nico Lalos wore 54 for his tenure with the Patriots. Last worn by Otis Reese. Ray McLeod is wearing 26 for the Bears, currently shared with Anthony Johnson Jr. Former Bengals defensive end Cam Sample will wear 69 for Atlanta.
Hey-o.
Currently shared with Jack Nelson. Former Patriots, we got a bunch of them. David Blade Jr. will wear 64 for Atlanta, last worn by Brett Toth. Caden Wallace will be wearing 75 for the Dolphins, last worn by another former Patriot, Jason Hines. And Landon Roberts.
Also a former Patriot.
Yes, he will be wearing 57 for Pittsburgh, last worn by Mark Robinson. And in the NBA, Mario Hezonja will switch from 10 to 33 for Cleveland, last worn by Olivier Sarr, excuse me. Lou Dort, former Thunder, will wear 0 for the Hawks, last worn by Jonathan Kuminga. Nick Clifford will switch from 5 to 10. 5 will switch from 5 to 10 for Sacramento, last worn by DeMar DeRozan. And Jeremy Sochan will wear 4 for the Blazers, last worn by Matisse Thybulle.
Ooh, all right. That was a good Know Your Numbers.
Yes.
And as we know, after we know your numbers, we get to
the one question.
The one question. And of course, this one question of this week
is
what did we learn
from the joint practice
from the
preseason game?
First joint practice with the Colts and the preseason game, the first preseason game? Of course, what did we learn? So let's start off with the joint practice, which was on Tuesday, which really was all about the starters. So, I mean, it was funny. Pete, who hosts Foxborough Fellas, he made a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
He called into 98.5 and he made a great point, and I happen to agree with him. He said, they should allow people to, they should televise the joint practices, because that's where you're going to see most of the action is in these joint practices. And they should allow people to gamble, because they're saying they'll never get rid of preseason games because people will gamble on them. What kind of a degenerate gambles on a sad preseason game is beyond me.
Somebody desperate, I guess.
But somebody does. So let these people gamble on these what do you call them? These joint practices. They're so much more interesting to see. And the only thing that gets a little tricky, well, they don't really do any installation in these joint practices because clearly they don't want the other team to see. But you're going to get so much more entertainment and entertainment value in a joint practice being televised as opposed to seeing, like, as Paul Perillo calls them, Sonny's Car Wash. Guys that are going to be working at Sonny's Car Wash, you know, after cut down. It doesn't exist. It just means they're going to be out of the NFL working at the car wash.
Oh my God.
So I happen to agree. I think that would be great to see. But anyway, I digress. The first joint practices are a great chance to see the starters against another team.
Drake in the offense.
And they were sick of playing against each other, so it couldn't have come at a better time.
Oh, definitely.
I thought May had a good day. You know, he started off, as he usually does, started off a little bit rough. He went 15 for 23 on 11 and 11s, but more importantly, they were pushing the ball to different parts of the field. A.J. Brown had 5 catches in team periods. Hunter Henry and Eli Raritan both had 4 catches. May threw red zone touchdowns to 4 different receivers. Dobbs had a good win on a corner route, and everybody saw Brown just absolutely knock Sauce Gardner off his feet on a comeback in one-on-ones.
He got lost in the sauce. But
lost in the sauce.
Once a Jet, always a Jet.
Lost in his own sauce.
Once a Jet, always a Jet.
That's right. Raritan continued to get run with the ones, and I think that's kind of what I wanted to see. You know, May really working on his connection with Brown, helping to bring his connection around with Dobbs. You know, Pop Douglas continuing to do old reliable Hunter Henry. I said it backwards. Hunter Henry, and of course Eli Raritan really is starting to come along, which you also saw in the game. And the backs were involved. I think the running game has been off to a slow start so far this year. So, you know, while they try to install that outside zone that they've been working on. But yeah.
Yeah, the 1 minute drill ended with a pick from Cam Bynum. It was the one clear negative in the period.
Yes, it was.
Definitely good. Only one bad thing. Pop was open down the middle. He had to move because Indy got pressure inside.
Yeah.
He left the ball short. That's a throw he has to make. The good part is Douglas did win the route.
The route.
Yeah, the route, excuse me. Drake May saw it. The bad part is they had a chance to finish a 2-minute drive and didn't. Bynum got the ball.
Yeah. So as far as the starting line, they were better than the backups did, especially in that preseason game.
Oh, definitely.
For the most part, May's had pretty decent pass protection, but again, there is no tackling. There's a lot of would-be sacks that are sort of being ignored. The pressure that caused problems came from the inside, particularly when the Colts used movement. And that's kind of what I'm watching with this line now. I'm less concerned about the tackles than I was earlier in the camp. I think Will Campbell's pretty much been pretty decent, even though he's wearing this like brace that on his left arm that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I want to see Jared Wilson, Mike
that.
Onwenu, and AVT handle the interior games cleanly when Philly comes into town and starts running stunts. I think Lomu's been getting some first team work at right tackle, and that's important because you never know with Morgan Moses, you know, but I worry about them because they've been giving him left guard, a left tackle, and right guard. Are they giving him too much? You know, I think he needs to focus on being like the backup swing tackle with a focus on right tackle. If you then start repping him also at right guard, you're just going to overwhelm him. And you can kind of tell because he's been pretty inconsistent. And, you know, he hasn't really been at his best, but I don't think he needs time to develop. And I don't think that they were expecting too much from him. But if you really want him to be your backup swing tackle, leave him alone. Stop making him rep at guard. I mean, I get it. Like, you don't have a lot of depth, but like, go sign somebody or something.
Yeah, like they had Greg Van Rotten for a while.
Yeah, but I guess they didn't. They signed that guard and that center. They didn't think they thought he was pretty rotten. Instead, they signed two UDFAs instead of some rotten guy.
Two youngsters.
Yeah. So anyway, how about the running game?
Yeah, they definitely had their best practice at camp. It was definitely better than it had been earlier. They had found success in the inside.
And
including the red zone, that's important because this offense was built to be more physical with AVT and Gilliam added to the run game.
And Gilliam's been looking good.
Yes, but I wouldn't say it's fixed after one practice. But this was the first time we saw another move in the NFL front instead of their own defense.
Yeah, and they, like I said, it's hard. They're trying to work on installing outside zone, and it's been coming along pretty slowly. And I think it's hard to say a lot about the defense because so many, Carlton Davis wasn't there, Barmore was still limited,
and
Gonzalez wasn't there, and so you're down to your depth corners who aren't really going to establish and show you too much.
Like Vildor, Saunders,
and Indy teed off on that. They took advantage of the secondary. Tyler Warren had 3 chunk plays in a 1-minute period. Josh Downs beat Marcus Jones multiple times and eventually scored in the flat. And when
they did all that without their starting receiver, Alec Pierce, who was recovering from surgery.
That's right, he is. And when the Patriots didn't get pressure, the receivers were getting... All right, what?
The Patriots dodged a bullet not signing Pierce, honestly.
Yes, they dodged a bullet not signing Pierce. Any other thoughts?
That's it.
Okay.
For now.
So I feel like when the Patriots weren't getting pressure, like the receivers, the Colts receivers,
they were taking advantage.
The receivers were getting open.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, that's something to notice that, again, we keep bringing it up. Depth in the secondary, depth at edge, depth in the interior O-line.
A lot of depth issues.
A lot of problems.
Yes.
I mean, one injury, it's like a house of cards that's just going to topple down. I think, like the front can cover up some things when the rush gets home, but when it doesn't, the depth behind the corners is still
What's your biggest takeaways from Tuesday?
My biggest takeaway from Tuesday, joint practice, is probably 4 things. I think they finally got to look at another defense, something that they didn't know was coming, something that that needed May to be able to be prepared for, especially with the work he's been doing this offseason about, calling the protections at the line and being more forceful about, changing the play at the line of scrimmage. So I think the main and the starting passing game they handled a different defense pretty well. The starting O-line held up, but the interior communication against stunts is something that needs to be watched. Reardon is slowly but surely starting to become part of the first team offense. And the defense secondary, I think, is also a little bit of cause for concern when you don't have Gonzalez and you don't have Davis. And just pay Gonzalez, man. Pay him. Pay that man. Just pay him.
Yes.
I mean, for crying out loud.
Yes.
You can't say you want to be a draft and develop team and then draft one of the best players you have ever drafted and then not
just
pay him.
Throw him away.
Just pay him.
Exactly.
Pay him. Don't trade him for 2 first-round picks.
That would be an automatic firing for Wolf.
Just pay him.
Exactly.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, meanwhile,
let's talk about so let's move on to the preseason game.
By the way, before we start, we just wanted to let you know the keeper of the light was New England Revolution and Team USA goalkeeper Matt Turner.
That's great. Thank you for letting us know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are you going to learn from a 13-13 tie? And for the love of God, thank you whoever came up with the
tie in the preseason.
Thank you with whoever came up with the rule about not going to overtime in the preseason. God bless you.
Yes.
So I think.
Well, I mean, it would have ended in a tie if we had gone through overtime as well.
The takeaway is, but no one needs that in the preseason.
That's true.
So the takeaway from Thursday, where you're looking at preseason, is going to be completely different than what you're taking away, because right now you're looking at the bottom half of the roster.
Yes.
I mean, I guess you could call Booty a starter. He was out there for
a minute,
5 seconds, and he was out there for 5 seconds, and then he didn't really get targeted. But I think Matt Collins in the game.
He was in for a minute. Yeah,
but for the most part, the starter sat. So now this is really about just assessing the bottom of the roster.
Yes.
So let's start with the offensive line.
Yes, this became one of the biggest concerns on the team. Ben Brown started center. Unfortunately, he went down. Rizzi had to replace him, but then Rupchich went down too. Ben Brown is definitely important. He's the established backup who can cover 3 interior spots.
Yep.
Once he's out, the depth gets thin very, very quickly. James Hudson is definitely a player I'm most concerned about. Moving in from tackle to guard and that transition.
On the inside, you're right, yeah.
Lomu played the entire first half at tackle. Had some good snaps, but unfortunately he had an ineligible man downfield penalty, which erased a 24-yard completion to Eli Raridan. But Marcus Bryant helped himself.
He certainly did.
The Patriots have more answers at backup tackle than they do with guards and centers. I would definitely consider them adding a veteran interior line.
And which they didn't do.
Yeah,
Instead, they signed 2 UDFAs.
They did.
So
if we had to play a game tomorrow, I'd say Bryant and Lomo are your backup.
If we had to play like a regular season game tomorrow, I'd say Bryant is the backup left tackle,
Yes,
and Lomu is the backup right tackle. And what's interesting is like, I think one of the things we can say is that like there's in this league there isn't even 32 quality starters. Mm-hmm. So if there isn't even 32 quality starters, there certainly is not going to be 32 quality backups.
Yes.
So as far as backups is concerned, DeVito is better than average, and he's been having a really good camp. But the issue with the game on Thursday was that he didn't have a good game. Mm-hmm. It was an uneven night for him. He was 13 for 22 for 138 yards. He had one touchdown to Kyle Williams.
The only touchdown by the Patriots.
And the only touchdown by the entire team. And his accuracy, he was inconsistent. Mm-hmm. He had 5 positive plays and 5 negative throws and decisions. He underthrew Williams when Williams had won his go route. Sprayed a dig away from Matt Collins and threw another ball low to Tejan Palmer. Yeah. And, he was seeing the field. He was getting the ball out on time. The problem was the placement.
Yeah.
He had accuracy issues all night long. And what's interesting is it's so different than what you see even today in practice. And when he's in practice, he's hitting deep balls in the joint practices. He's hitting deep balls today. So, it's just kind of like, is he the backup? Yes. Do we not, is it a first world problem to have to sit there? I mean, but if DeVito has to come in and play, and he can't be accurate.
Definitely something to keep.
It's something to keep an eye on. Baron Morton ended up playing this whole second half of the game. So, what do you think about his first NFL game action?
A little uneven. There were some good sides. So he went 7 of 13 for 66 yards. His best work came on third down. He had Kobe Prentice for conversions of 19, 15, and 13 yards. Prentice also missed today's practice, by the way. And when Morton had a clean pocket, you can see the quick release and timing he's shown at camp. But the inconsistency showed when the pocket got messy. He missed Larson twice underneath and missed Nick DeGennaro, and some of those throws came out short when he couldn't throw from a clean base. But I did like the finish. He got the ball back with a minute 16 left and moved the offense into position for the 49-yard field goal attempt that
it's disappointing because they had a nice opportunity.
All that hard work for naught.
To do a 1-minute drill. They push it down the field. They get a penalty. It pushes him back, and then he has a batted ball, and they can't move close enough for it to be a chip shot for Borregales.
All that hard work for naught.
And it really doesn't matter anyway because he missed it. It was one of his 3 misses
for naught. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't even think. I just don't feel like it matters because he is clearly the emergency quarterback. He's not making a push for backup quarterback, but you know what? He's there to be developed. He's developing.
RB3 is up next.
Yeah, man, RB3.
Terrell Jennings went on IR this week, and suddenly RB3 was wide open.
I know, it's kind of interesting because, like, Terrell Jennings comes back, and you're like, uh-oh, RB3. He's clearly should be a lock for RB3. And then he goes down, and he's gone. And what do you know? RB3 is wide open again.
He had a concussion last season. I don't think it's the concussion.
I don't know what it is, but
I think they're Foxborough.
And I will tell you, a Jam Miller, and I like me.
Yeah.
I don't love me some Jam Miller, but I like me some Jam Miller.
We jamming.
We be jamming. He definitely took advantage of his opportunities. 14 carries for 55 yards. Land Larison, for me, I feel like took a step backwards. He had 7 carries for just the 1 yard is all you need. And I think that's a really big difference, especially when you're looking at an RB3 battle. Miller, I just love the way he runs, better pad level, hitting more decisively, looking comfortable. And Larison gave you 6 catches for 38 yards. And so I feel like it's hard to say, like, is he more special teams? I don't know where the role is for him, but I really think Jam Miller definitely helped himself out. If you need somebody to replace Stevenson or Henderson for 10 carries, I think Jam Miller looks like the better option. But if you're looking for receiving and special teams, I think that's where you can turn into Larison and say maybe. And again, because Haskins and Hasty, they're like, oh, you're here? Guess what? You're going to play in a game tomorrow. So I don't think there's anything you could really say about them, even though they played in the fourth quarter. Like, what are you going to do with guys who just showed up, So
that's true.
But wide receiver.
Yeah, Kyle Williams had the lone touchdown plus 37 receiving
just the
yards.
One. Yep. He was definitely one of the biggest winners of the game. Although, again, he was inconsistent. 2 catches for 37 and a touchdown, but the separation stood out more. He's quick off the line. He gets behind corners. He gets special team reps. He's making the receiver decision, I think, like I said, Vrabel pretty much all but said he's on the roster. So, I mean, what does it matter anyway? But I think the conversation can't just be about like, it's like one step forward, two steps back with him. I said, and this is for me, the issue with Williams. His high end plays are obvious. He has speed that nobody else on the team has, but he is inconsistent. He wins comebacks. He destroys corners off the line. He wins go routes, and then he has an OPI, or he misses a crack block on a stuffed run, or on an underthrown go ball. Vrabel wanted to see him work back through the defender and try to draw a flag, and that didn't happen. And we've seen that all the way back to the spring. He'll make a big play, and then he'll have a detail that needs to be cleaned up. And it's like, to me, I clearly he has talent. I just don't know how much talent he has and whether he can really be an NFL receiver. For me, don't think so, but that's just me. The question is, if he can stack the good reps without negatives and do that one step forward, two steps back.
Yes.
How about Hollins?
Yeah, Hollins had 2 catches for 24. Also, he had 2 high ball opportunities that he didn't finish. That's where he has to be better because contested catches are supposed to be part of his game.
Oh, I don't put that. But you know what? I don't really put both of those incompletions on Hollins because, as we said earlier, DeVito's accuracy was off. Good for Tommy, right? Yeah. So
on one of those targets, Hollins had a chance and probably should have finished it. On the other, DeVito put the ball way too high. And he also missed Hollins on a dig earlier in the game. Yeah, Hollins starts to win the contested catch reps because that's part of his role. But 2 catches on 4 targets doesn't mean he simply lost the other 2. The quarterback left some plays out there too.
Yeah.
Chisler continues to hang around too.
Don't sleep on the Chisler.
Exactly. 30 snaps, 3 catches, 20 yards. And Cam Dorner is a name to look out for. He had the 48-yarder, which unfortunately got erased by a penalty. But he came right back with another first down catch. And this receiver battle is nowhere near over.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Gabe Akis got a lot of attention.
Yeah, Gabe Akis got some attention. Some of it was good attention. Some of it was not good attention. Mm-hmm. And, he's a rookie. He's behind everybody. But the pass rush is real. The bull rush showed up again. He walked the tackles back into Anthony Richardson and helped create the Kindle Vildor interception. Mm-hmm. And that's good. That's the good thing. That's what you want to see. And the problem is it's about
Anthony Richardson. It was terrible.
Anthony Richardson wasn't very good. So I think the part is what you want to see him is become a complete edge player. Can he hold the edge on first down? Can he recognize option looks? Can he handle misdirection? Right now, I feel like I see somebody who can help rush the passer, but I still want to see more before I call him an every down edge. And I think there's another part of Akis's game that I'm watching now too, and that is something that Vrabel brought up, and that's the consistency of his effort. Vrabel had challenged him during the kickoff coverage. He was working on special teams, and maybe he's just a little hot-headed and was like, why am I on special teams? I don't want to be on special teams, and he didn't give it his full effort. I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. But he said that Vrabel didn't think that Akis's effort was good enough, and he's like, I didn't expect that guy to block you when he blocked you. So he responded on the next opportunity and made a tackle. So, you're talking about one rep. I'm not saying he has a work ethic problem. I'm just saying that I feel like something I want to keep an eye on. What is his motor like? How is his effort? This is the 2nd round pick. This is a position that's thin on the roster. Now, he clearly has physical ability, and the bull rush is there and the power is there. He just has to develop the recognition, the discipline, and the consistency to play every down the way that Vrabel wants edge players to play. And that is something that I definitely will be looking for on Wednesday and Thursday when Philadelphia rolls into town. I definitely think Braden Swinson has been helping himself as well. He got pressure. He knocked down a 4th down pass. He should get better and higher reps in competition this week.
Yes. Meanwhile, KJ Britt started next to Muma.
Another player on the rise.
Yes, and he absolutely made the most of it. 3 tackles, a TFL, and the forced fumble against Richardson. TFL and forced fumble came on consecutive snaps.
In the red zone, no less.
Yeah. And that is how you move up a depth chart. He came into camp fighting Khalil Jacobs and Nnamdi Obiazor for the backup LB spots. And now he's putting himself right in the middle of it.
Yep.
Meanwhile, what did you see from the corners?
The backup corners? There's such a differentiation between Davis and Jones and Gonzalez. So Vildor got an interception, which is great, but Akis affected the throw. Prunty, I think, has had a pretty decent camp. He's helped himself out a lot. He's been solid in camp so far. Kobe Minor's had some solid snaps. I don't see him making the roster.
We'll see. I mean,
Canada,
Mr. Relevance have done better.
Canada didn't do so good.
Canada,
He's not making the roster.
We'll see.
And I think it's important to note that Canada has also worked on the inside. So it's not, I wouldn't say that he's like failing as a corner, but I definitely want to see some more of him at nickel and more of Prunty and Minor on the outside.
We'll see.
I think that somebody still needs to establish himself as like the number one bench corner.
Yes.
And let's talk about the kicking game.
Yeah, Borregales, not a good night.
Dude.
2 for 5, made a couple kicks from 40 and 52, missed a 56, a 55, and then the game-winning 49-yarder. 2 long ones didn't bother me nearly as much as that last one, which is definitely a kick you'd expect an NFL kicker to make. I definitely consider bringing in.
Now, I noticed that he was kicking all day today. All day today. And
perfect.
He was great, and he had a good day, and that's wonderful. But I think you need to bring in some competition. I think you need to light a fire under him.
Kicker, maybe.
I think you need to light a fire under him, because I don't care what you do in training camp. If you cannot replicate that in the game, then you can kick all the training camp kicks you want through skinny uprights, through large, chunky uprights. I don't really care. Just make a kick. And Vrabel was pissed too. He's like, this is the NFL. We are professionals. You can't be making these misses. The other team had 2 kickers. They made kicks of like over 60. And you got to make these kicks. And he's absolutely right.
He is.
And I will tell you,
has got a lot to own up on.
As the game overall, sloppy.
Yes, very, very sloppy. There was way too much sloppy football around offense and special teams.
Yes, absolutely. Too many self-inflicted mistakes. They had 5 accepted penalties for 35 yards, but like Lomo's ineligible man downfield erased a 24-yard reception for Raritan. Hudson had the same penalty wiped out. It was a 48-yard completion to Dorner. Williams had an OPI. These are X plays that are coming off the board because mistakes that are being made by the offensive line. So you can't have that. And it's not even about somebody getting physically beaten. These are just mental mistakes. And then special teams. We talked about Borregales, who sucked it hard. The field goal unit had a substitution issue, which cost New England a timeout. Vrabel had to challenge Akis' effort on kickoff coverage.
There was a pretty funny moment when he just chucked that flag.
Yeah, that was fun. No, it was just too many mistakes.
Yes.
Too many mistakes. So what do we think that we learned from the actual preseason game? I mean, it is a preseason game. There's not much to learn, but what do we take away from the game?
Yeah, roster battles aside, what did the actual football tell us as much as the preseason game that ends in a tie can?
Well, I feel like the offensive line depth, especially on the inside, is a problem. You have no more Ben Brown, who we have talked about before.
4 to 6 weeks.
Remember what we said? Oh my God, please somebody wrap Ben Brown in bubble wrap, because if anything happens to him, then the entire interior is screwed.
Thankfully, he's going to miss at least 1 week of regular season.
He's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. But that's exactly my whole point.
And 4.
You can't rotate for anybody now because you don't. And Rizzi's playing center. I don't want Rizzi playing center. Rubsich is out for the season.
Too much Riz. Too much Riz on the Rizzi.
No, not enough Riz.
Or that.
Hudson's learning guard, and I think Brian and Lomu give you more options at tackle, but you can't be flipping Lomu around everywhere. I think if they add somebody, it's like a guard center type.
Signed today.
They don't need any more tackles. So I don't know what they think they're going to do with these UDFAs, but I think I'd rather see a veteran come in here. So what about the running game?
Yes. Miller's performance was way better. The Patriots ran it 32 times for 82 yards, 2.6 yards per carry as a team. Miller had 55 of the 83. That's why I'm not looking at the team rushing number and saying Miller was mediocre.
Yeah.
The run blocking was inconsistent. And Miller was the one back who got consistently got something out of it, so we might see some more Miller time.
Oh, might be. Oh, I like that Miller time. Now, what about, let's talk about Akis a little bit. I think overall, I think we kind of can see the kind of player he is right now. His power works. You can line him up on passing downs. You can let him attack a tackle. What he still needs is the early down recognition that comes with playing edge in the NFL. After Vrabel challenged him, the consistency of his motor is part of the evaluation now too. I think it's not about his physical talent. I think that's pretty apparent. I think it's about the recognition, discipline, and snap over snap effort. They catch up for him to handle a bigger role at a position where they are desperate. Desperate. So let's talk about the corner depth and the pass rush.
Yes. The interceptions did make the defensive box score look good, and the turnovers were also good.
Yeah. Gotta love you some turnovers.
But the joint practice and game showed the same thing. When New England affects the quarterback, the secondary looks better. When the quarterback has time, there are openings, and that's why I still have a backup outside corner as a concern, even after the Vidor pick.
Yep. And like we said, there were 4 takeaways in the first 32 minutes, and that's a good thing. Britch, please. Britt punched out the ball. Farms forced one near the goal line. Saunders got an interception. Vildor got one with Akis affecting Richardson. And that's exactly what I think not only Vrabel wants to see, but oh my God, I'm so tired. What is the defensive coordinator's name?
Zach Kerr.
Thank you. I think Zach Kerr wants to see that as well. Yes. I thought Jeremy Springer was like literally going to have a heart attack. He was so pissed at how bad special teams was doing in that game.
Spring and Springer.
Yeah.
He was like,
he's going to spring onto the field and punch someone. So they finished +4 in turnovers.
He's committed.
They only scored 13 points, which is a bummer. They had 1 offensive touchdown. They went 5 for 18 on third down. If your defense gives you 4 extra possessions, you better be turning those into points.
Mm-hmm.
The run game averaged 2.6 yards per carry. DeVito was inactive. Penalties erased X plays. Borregales missed 3 field goals. It was just an amalgamation of things that were hard to watch. The opportunities were there for the offense, but they didn't take advantage of them and they didn't convert them into points. And that's not going to work in the NFL.
Yes, and finally, the offense was too sloppy to sustain drives.
Yep, too sloppy.
Too many self-inflicted mistakes. This was the game where the Colts defensively overwhelmed them.
Absolutely not.
They ended up making explosive plays, but then erased them. They got into scoring range and stalled. They had 4 takeaways, couldn't cash them in. This is what bothers me more in the final score. Second and third years are supposed to be showing the staff they can be trusted if somebody has to play in September or beyond.
Yeah, I mean, there were assignment penalties, there were substitution mistakes, there were missed kicks, and I know Vrabel tore into them, absolutely tore into them. So let's talk about some stock ups and some stock downs after we had this week of joint practice
and the Patriots
the first preseason game. And I'm not even going to put in today because, like I said, today was a really quiet day.
Yeah, very chill.
So
first up, I would say
Stock up. Okay.
Yeah, Kyle Williams.
Okay, and what about Kyle?
I think his stock is up, but with an asterisk.
Okay.
Ceiling is going up. Consistency still has to come with it. The touchdown comeback and go are exactly why I want him on the roster. But it doesn't help with the penalty, the failed crack block, the not working back to the defender on the end of throw and why he's not a finished play yet. So the stock is up, but it shows what he has to clean up.
Yep. I definitely think, like I said, I mean, even today, he didn't get 1 rep with the ones. Not 1. Anyway.
It's a little bit of a...
I think Eli Raritan is another stock up. More reps with the ones, 4 catches in the joint practice. He's showing enough as both a receiver and a blocker to keep expanding his role. Who's another stock up for you?
J.M. Miller.
Jam on.
Yep. He did. His stock is definitely up. 14.55. He has the lead for the traditional RB3 job.
Right now, I think he's in the lead.
Yeah, KJ Britt's another guy.
Yep, his stock is up. A tackle for a loss, a forced fumble on consecutive red zone snaps. I think this is his best week of camp so far.
Definitely.
Another stalker. Kayron Prunty.
He definitely helped up his stock.
Okay.
He helped himself in the outside corner competition at a position where the Pats need somebody to emerge. And finally, the last stock-up guy is Marcus Bryant.
All right, and what about Marcus Bryant?
He was one of the few backup O-liners who came out of the game with his position stronger than it was going in.
Yeah, I think he may have solidified himself as the backup left tackle. Let's talk about stock down.
Don't forget a handful of those guys, like James Hudson,
stock down.
Yeah, the move inside the guard is still a problem. Injuries make his performance more important, not less.
Yep. How about Channing Canada?
Yes. Give him more nickel work before making a bigger judgment. So we'll see. Lynn
Larson. He didn't have a good week.
He did not.
Yeah, he did.
7 carries for a yard, still alive because he caught 6 balls and has some special teams value.
Yeah.
And finally, Borregales, yeah. 2 for 5, missed the 49-yard game winner. He definitely needs some competition in his.
I think he needs some. I'm sorry. I think they need to sign another kicker.
Yes.
So we have some, and then we have our mixed stock.
One guy,
Akis. I definitely think his pass rush talent is positive. The bull rush is good. I'm not putting him in the stock up group because the rest of the game was inconsistent. He still has to improve his recognition against option and misdirection and hold up better on early downs and show him a level of effort that he's expected on every snap. Like I said, he is physically talented, but at this point in time, he is inconsistent. So okay, let's come back around to our final one question, which is
So after getting the ones against Indy in practice and then watching them on Thursday, what did we actually learn?
Okay, well, the starting offense handled its first test pretty well. Definitely made plays. The starting offensive line held up, and I think that Eli Raritan is coming along, which is what we need so that we can run 12 personnel and 11 personnel and not have to put Hunter Henry out there all the time. And then the game, I think, told us more about the bottom half of the roster. Williams, Miller, Britt, Prunty, and Bryant all helped themselves. We talked about Akis. I think the biggest team issue isn't talent, it's execution, which you're going to see from the bottom half of the roster, which is why they're on the bottom half of the roster. You got to have more than 13 points.
You do.
13 points is not enough. You got to keep working on those X plays. X plays are very important, and you can't keep negating them with offensive penalties. Special teams, I mean, you're talking about missed kicks, issues with substitution, overall effort, and the interior offensive line depth and back up outside corner and kicker, I think, are big concerns coming out. And now Philadelphia's coming here, and they're no type of cream cheese.
They are not.
All right. So that pretty much does it
for the one question.
It's just the one question.
Yep.
That's all
now
we
are off to the 101.
All right, let's talk about the 101. Let's move on to the 101.
Yes.
Pretty excited about this.
Yes.
All right.
We're going to be talking about pass protection.
Okay. So let's talk about the 101. All right.
Yes, the NFL pass protection.
All right, go.
Over the last few 101s, we've been building the offense piece by piece. We talked about personnel, formations, run game, route concepts, what the QB is looking for after the snap. Now we're adding another piece of that, which was pass protection.
All right, and this ties into everything that we've talked about. You can ID the personnel, recognize the formation, know the route concept, and understand where the quarterback wants to go with the football, but none of that works if the protection breaks down. So this week, we're going to look at what the offensive line, running backs, tight ends, and quarterbacks are actually responsible for in pass protection, how 5, 6, and 7-man protection works, the difference between man and slide and half slide protection, and how to tell what actually went wrong when pressure gets to the quarterback.
Yes.
So what is pass protection?
That is a good question.
Yep, pass protection.
It is the offense's plan for accounting the pass rush long enough for the quarterback and the route concept to operate.
It's route.
Route concept. Excuse me. We're very tired. It is not simply 5 O-linemen blocking 5 defenders closest to them.
Yeah, I think it's about responsibility. Before the snap, the offense decides how many players are protecting, which defenders those blockers are responsible for, and what quarterback has to do if the defense sends more rushers than the protection can handle. So let's take a look at that.
Yes, let's.
All right, so let's talk about our pass protection. So every play starts with 5 offensive linemen, but the offense can add a running back or tight end to the protection. 5-man protection uses the line as a primary blocking unit. 6-man protection adds 1 eligible player, and a 7-man protection adds 2. The number of blockers changes the risks, and more blockers give the quarterback more help against pressure, but remove receivers from the route. Few blockers put more eligible receivers into the pattern, but require the quarterback to process the defense faster. Protection is always a trade between time and route options.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk about man principles, slide principles, and half slide principles.
Yes, in man-oriented protection, often called big on big or Bob protection. Blockers are assigned to specific defenders based on the protection count. The offensive line usually accounts for the defensive front, and a running back can be responsible for an additional linebacker blitzer, called dependent. The advantage is clarity. If the offense likes the matchup, it can leave the blocker or the on that defender. The weakness is movement. A stunt, twist, or late linebacker exchange can force blockers to pass assignments to one or another even to one another even though the protection begins with man rules. In slide protection, multiple linemen can step up in the same direction to protect an area rather than chasing a specific defender across the formation, in which the blocker takes the rusher who enters this gap. That makes slide principles useful against games in interior move because the line is working together in one direction. The trade-off is the backside.
The backside.
Yep, depending on the call. The backside edge can belong to a tackle. We're running back a tight end to the quarterback through a quick throw. Full slide does not make the defender disappear. It just determines how the offense plans to handle him. Half slide combines the two ideas. One side of the line works with gap or slide rules, while the other side uses man-oriented rules. The combination is common because it gives the offense answers to movement on one side while keeping defined matchups in the other. When viewers see two adjacent linemen step together, then the opposite side block more independently. They are often seeing half slide principles. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's keep moving on.
Yes.
All right, so with 5-man protection, the
5, 6,
offense
7,
can release
8,
5 eligible receivers. With 6-man protection, 1 back or a tight end stays in, and 4 receivers can release immediately. With 7-man protection, 2 eligible players can stay in, and only 3 release immediately. 7-man protection is often associated with deep developing concepts or heavy pressure because offense is buying time. The cost is coverage density. If only 3 receivers release, the defense has more defenders available to cover fewer routes. A protection can win physically and leave the quarterback with no attractive throw. A back or a tight end can have several different protection jobs. He can stay in for the entire play, check a particular blitzer, and release if the player does not rush or chip an edge defender before entering the route. These are different assignments. A check release player must identify the threat before he becomes a receiver. A chip is designed to slow the rusher without removing the eligible receiver from the concept completely. Both can change the timing of the route, which is why the quarterback has to know when a player is expected to become available. Yes. So that's important.
Yes.
So let's move on to the mic.
Yes, the mic call and the count. Before the snap, the quarterback or center often identifies as the defender as the mic. That player is not required to be the defense's actual middle linebacker. The designation gives the offense a reference point for counting defenders and setting blocking responsibilities. Basically, think about it as the starting point of the protection map. Once the reference is set, the line and the back can determine which defenders belong to the protection and which defenders the quarterback may have to handle with the ball. If the defense changes the front, walks the linebacker, or rotates late, the offense may reset the count. So when a quarterback points at a linebacker before the snap, he may be identifying the protection rather than changing the play, and that gesture alone does not prove what he's communicating. The important concept is the pass protection is coordinated before the snap. A missed identification can create an untouched rush even when the defensive lineman blocks the defender he believes was assigned.
All right. A free rusher is any defender who reaches the quarterback without a blocker taking him. Sometimes it's called a protectioner. Sometimes the offense knowingly leaves a defender unblocked because there are more potential rushers than available blockers. And that is important to note. If 6 players protect and the defense sends 7, the offense can't block 7 with 6 guys. So the answer has to come from the quarterback and the route structure. The offense may have a built-in quick throw, a hot route, or a slight adjustment that attacks the space vacated by the blitzer. A hot answer works only if the quarterback and receiver diagnose the pressure the same way. If both players identify the same extra rusher, the ball can leave before that defender arrives. If the quarterback expects the route to adjust and the receiver runs the original route, then the result looks like a protection failure, even though the breakdown occurred in the passing game communication.
Yes. A stunt or a twist uses 2 rushers to exchange paths after the snap. One defender attacks the inside while another loops around him. For the movement can work the opposite direction, the offense has to pass those rushers from one blocker to the next without creating an open lane. Common failure is that both blockers stay attached to the first rusher and lose the looper, or one blocker changes the original assignment too far and opens the gap. The rush is designed to turn 5 individual blocking matchups into a communication test.
Yep. So there's no universal time such as like 2.5 seconds after which a sack automatically becomes the quarterback's fault. The timing depends on the concept. A quick game throw can be designed to leave in well under 2 seconds. A deep play action concept can make you have to do it substantially longer. To diagnose pressure, ask 6 questions. 1, how many rushers did the defense send and how many blockers were in the protection? 2, if the defense sent more than the offense could block, was the quarterback's built-in answer? What was the quarterback's built-in answer? 3, did an individual blocker lose a clean one-on-one? 4, did a stunt or blitz create a communication error between the blockers? 5, did a back or tight end miss a protection responsibility? Or 6, did the quarterback hold the ball, drift into pressure, and move away from the protection after the original timing of the concept had expired? So that prevents every sack from being an assignment automatically to the offensive line. An untouched defender can be a blown assignment and an intentionally unblocked rusher or a quarterback who didn't even use a designated answer. The lineman can win his blocks and still be blamed visually because the quarterback was moved into the rush. So the correct thing to see is not whether the pressure occurred, it's why the pressure arrived. Yeah. So that's a look at NFL
pass
protection.
Yeah, that will wrap up the 101.
That's right. And let's move on to our final segment, which is the final freeform.
I think we're going to talk about something exciting tomorrow, as we mentioned. I'm going to be going to my first Red Sox game. I've been to the Red Sox. I've been to the Sea Dogs. This will complete the trifecta. I've heard rave reviews about this new Polar Park.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, a lot of good food.
I'm excited to see Trevor's story. I'm excited to see Arias.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a fun experience overall. Yeah.
All right. And that's going to pretty much do it for this episode.
Yes.
We're going to see you next week and we'll have a wrap up of all of the joint practices with the Eagles.
Yes.
And,
what to expect for
make sure you tune in.
The game on Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you tune in and catch a new episode next time. We'll see you next time.
All right. See ya.